Good morning, students. Welcome to Computer Organization class. This is Veena A. Patil from Department of CSE BLE CET Vijaypur.
In the last video, we have seen PCI and CSI bus. Today, we will learn about USB bus. USB stands for Universal Serial Bus. Today's computer system involve a wide variety of input-output devices such as keyboard, wireless mouse, optical mouse, printer, microphones, cameras, speakers, CRT, LCDs, display, and so on. Most most computers also have a connection to the internet. Hence, there is a requirement for a simple, low-cost mechanism to connect these devices to the computer. In the past, different types of interfaces were used to connect different devices. As the technology improved, many companies like Hewlett Packard, Philips, Microsoft, Compaq, Intel, etc., made a collaborative effort to develop a universal industry standard for connecting devices to the computer. This is known as Universal Serial Bus. It's an industry standard for short distance digital data transfer. USB is a fast serial bus. USB ports and cables are used in desktops, laptops, tablets, smartphones, digital cameras, video game consoles, televisions, flash drives, and variety of such electronic gadgets to connect to each other. The initial USB supported two speed of operations called low speed, which is 1.5 Mbps, and full speed, that is 12 Mbps. The later development, that is USB 2.0, is a high speed, that is 480 Mbps version, and USB 3.1 is the latest version of USB standard for connecting electronic device supporting data rate up to 10 up to 10 GBs, 10 Gbps. It's also known as USB 3.1 generation 2. USB 3.0 is capable of data transfer speed up to 5 Gbps. 5 Gbps and is known as USB 3.1 generation 1. Also, there are different types of USB connectors or cables available today, like USB Type A, Type B, Type C, Mini USB, Micro USB, etc. The USB standard was developed with an objective of providing a simple, low cost and easy to use interconnection system that overcomes the difficulties due to limited number of input-output ports available in a computer. And it is also developed to be able to accommodate a wide range of input-output devices with different data transfer characteristics, and also to provide more convenience and affordability to the user by means of plug and play mode of operation. So before we learn about the architecture and operations of USB, let's have a look as what do we mean by port limitation, device characteristics, plug and play. Now, we have already discussed about operations of serial and parallel port in previous videos. Now, using these ports, general purpose low to medium speed devices can be connected to a computer. Only few such ports are provided in a computer because of the physical space restriction in the motherboard of a computer. To add new ports, we have to access the internal expansion slot available on the motherboard and install a new interface card. The user also has to know how to configure the device and the software. The objective of USB is to make it possible to add many devices to a computer system at any time without the need to open the system box. So this makes the system user friendly and easy to use. Now that is the port limitation. Coming to device characteristics, modern computer systems use a wide range of devices that vary in type, size, speed, electrical and timing characteristics. For example, every time a key is pressed, one byte of data is generated. Since the event of pressing a key is not synchronized to any other event, the data generated by the keyboard is called asynchronous. Many simple devices that are attached to a computer generate asynchronous data at low speed. Now consider a microphone built in or attached to a computer. The microphone, it produces an analog electrical signal which must be converted into a digital form before the computer can handle it. Now this is performed using an analog to digital converter. When the processed digital data are sent to a speaker, a digital to analog converter is used to restore the analog signal. The continuous time an analog signal is sampled to yield a stream of digitized sample synchronized with the sampling clock. Such a data stream is called isochronous, meaning that successive events are separated by equal interval of time. So it is known as isochronous. CHRNOS. Okay. If the sampling rate is say S samples per second, the maximum frequency component that will be captured by the sampling process is S by 2. For example, 8 kHz sampling rate is enough to capture the human speech. For high quality, sampling rate should be higher. Similarly, data transfer for image and videos require high bandwidth. For example, TV image should be represented by about 160 kilobytes of data and transmitted 30 times per second, requiring a bandwidth of 44 Mbps. Also, secondary storage devices like hard disk and CD-ROMs require a data transfer bandwidth of at least 50 Mbps. Consider the case of a device connected using RS-232 serial bus standard. The voltage levels will be minus 9 volts to 9 volts and minus 25 volts and are not compatible with the processor or any other TTL device which work at 0 volts and plus 5 volts. Hence, we need to use TTL to RS-232 and RS-232 to TTL conversion every time to interface such a device. All this incompatibility in connecting different input-output device to the processor lead to the development of USB. Coming to plug and play, interfacing different types of devices using different input-output standard, it leads to increasing cost and complexity of the system. With the number and type of device being connected to the computer increasing day by day, it is imperative that the operation of the system should be flexible and user-friendly. That is, the computer user should be able to connect a new device to the system and start working without the need to go into the technicalities associated with the device. The plug and play feature means that a new device like a printer or keyboard or even flash drive can be connected to the system at any time while the system is operating. The system should on its own detect existence of the new device automatically and identify the appropriate device driver, software, and any other tools required to configure the device. The system should also establish the appropriate addresses and logical connections of the device so that they would be able to communicate with the system. The plug and play requirement has an impact on the hardware design, operating system, and application software as well. The primary objective of design of USB is to provide a plug and play capability, that is to allow large number of devices to be connected uh, or removed at any time with no user intervention. Now, because of all these points, it is needed for an interconnection system that will provide a low cost, flexible, and high data transfer bandwidth solution. Now, high bandwidth would require a wide bus that can carry 8 to 16 or more bits in parallel, but this needs a computer circuitry with large number of wires and also increases cost. If the input-output devices are located at a distance, it is difficult to design a wide bus that carries data for a long distance because of the data skew problem. The amount of skew increases with distance and limits the rate at which data can be transferred. So instead of a wide bus, a serial bus is preferred.
Now let's have a look on USB architecture. Now universal serial bus tree structure, what we call, to accommodate a large number of devices that can be added or removed at any time. The USB has the tree structure which is shown here. Now in this diagram, each node of the tree has a device called the hub. So here you can see, no, pen is not, it is called as a hub. Okay. Now which act as an intermediate controller between the host and the input output device. At the root of the tree, we have root hub connecting the entire tree to the host computer. The leaves of the trees are input output devices. These are the leaves which are the input output devices like keyboard, speaker, printer, etc. These are called as functions in USB terminology. The tree structure is a hierarchical interconnection mechanism. Hence, the device can be connected using only point-to-point serial link. Each hub has a number of ports through which other hubs and devices can be connected. Any hub, it sends the message it receives to all the hubs in the downstream. Thus, the message sent by the computer is broadcasted to all input-output devices, but only the addressed device responds after decoding the address. Any message sent by an input-output device, it travels only upstream towards the root of the tree. Hence, USB architecture allows hosts to communicate with input-output devices, but the input-output devices cannot communicate with each other directly. Now coming to addressing input-output devices in USB, a device may have several addressable locations to enable the software to send and receive control and status information as well as to transfer data. Initially, the root hub of the USB is attached to the processor bus and it appears as a single device to the processor. The host software communicates with individual device, hub or input-output device attached to the USB by sending packets of information. The root hub, it forwards these packets to appropriate device in the tree. Each device in the USB tree is assigned a 7-bit local address. A hub may have any number of devices or other hubs connected to it. So the addresses are assigned arbitrarily. When a device is first connected to a hub or powered on, it has the address 0. Now the hardware of the hub detects that a new device has been connected and it records this as a status information. The host computer calls each hub at regular intervals to know about new devices added or disconnected from the system. When the host gets information that a new device is connected, it takes the following actions, that is, it reads information from the device about its functions and capabilities. It sends configuration information to the device to set its features. It assigns the device a unique USB address. Once this operation is complete, the device begins its normal operation and responds only to this newly assigned address. The user is required to simply plug the devices into a hub port and turn on the power. The host software then will do all the initialization functions on its own without the need of user's intervention. This procedure gives the USB the required plug and play capability. Now coming to USB protocols. Now information is transferred as packets over the USB. A packet may contain one or more bytes of information. The information can be classified into two categories, that is control and data. The control packets perform functions such as addressing a device to initiate a data transfer, acknowledge that data have been received correctly, or indicating an error. Data packets, they carry information that is delivered to a device. A packet, it consists of one or more fields containing different kind of information. The first field is called packet identifier, which we call as PID, which indicates the type of that packet. This field contains 4 bits of information which are transferred twice. Initially, all bits are sent in true form and later in complemented form. This will enable the receiving device to verify that the PID byte has been received correctly. Now this we have tried to show here in the diagram. So you can see the first 4 bytes are sent as it is, the next 4 bytes next 4 bits are sent complemented form. So the 4 bits PID bits, they identify one of 16 different packet types. Control packets used for controlling data transfer operations are called token packets. Token packets are also shown here. These are token packets. A token packet, it starts with the PID field. It starts with the PID field. It distinguishes between in packet and out packet using one of the 2 PID values. The PID field is followed by 7-bit address of a device and 4-bit endpoint number within that device. The last field in the packet is for error checking using a method called cyclic redundancy check, or what we call it as CRC. Data packets carry input and output data and have the format as shown here. The packet identifier field is followed by up to 8K bits, that is 8192 bits of data, and then 16 error checking bits. 3 different PID packets are used to identify data packet numbers numbered as 0, 1 or 2. Data packets do not carry device address or an endpoint number. This information is included in the in or out token packet that initiates the data transfer. So the data transfer using PID using the USB can be seen here. So consider an output device that is connected to the USB hub. Let's say which is connected to a host computer. The operation is shown in the figure here. The host computer, it sends a token. Initially it sends a token packet of type out to the hub, followed by a data packet containing the out data. The PID field of the data packet identifies it as data packet number 0. The hub verifies that the transmission is error-free by checking the error control bits and then sends an acknowledgement packet called ACK to the host. So once host is sending, when it reaches the hub, it will check the error and it will send back the acknowledgement back to the host. The hub also forwards the token and data packets downstream to all input-output devices. Only the device that recognizes its address in the token packet, it accepts the data in the data packet. If it is error-free transmission, the device sends an acknowledgement packet to the hub. Subsequently, data packets in the pipe carry the number 0 and 1 alternatively. If a token data or acknowledgement packet is lost as a result of a transmission error, the sender resends the entire sequence. By checking the data packet number in the PID field, the receiver can detect and discard duplicate packets. The input operation also follows a similar procedure. The host sends a token packet of type in containing the data address. This acts as a call asking the device to send any input data. The device responds by sending a data packet followed by an acknowledgement. If the data is not ready, the device sends a negative acknowledgement NAK signal to the host. Isochronous traffic on USB. The main objective of USB is to support the transfer of isochronous data such as sampled voice, digitized audio, etc. Devices that generate or receive isochronous data require a time reference to control the sampling process. For this purpose, transmission over the USB is divided into frames of equal length. A frame is 1 millisecond long for low speed and full speed data. The root hub, it generates a start of frame, that is SOF control packet, once every 1 millisecond to mark the beginning of a new frame. The time of arrival of SOF packets can be taken as a clock signal by the device for its operation. The SOF packet, it carries a 11-bit frame number. Now I will show you through a diagram. The SOF frame, SOF packet, it has it has 11-bit frame number, and these are the bits, and this is PID, this is ERCS, 5 bits. Okay, so after each SOF operation, the SOF packet which carries 11-bit frame number, the host makes input and output transfer for isochronous devices. Hence, each device can execute input or output transfer once every 1 millisecond. The primary requirement for isochronous traffic is to maintain proper timing constraints. Occasionally, errors or missed samples can be tolerated, hence there is no need to retransmit the lost packets or to send acknowledgement. The first two transmission following SOP, I will just draw it here. We have here S time T4, then draw it much better. We have here S, then we have here D4, this is D, this is DS, this is D again, so on up to we have last one and D4 D, whereas this whole thing is 1 millisecond frame, and these are bits where S stands for start of frame packet, where TN, it stands for token packet address, which is equal to N, and D stands for data packet, and A stands for acknowledgement packet. So this is an example of frame. One frame. Right here, example of frame.
So this diagram represents the first two transmission following SOF. A control packet having device address 4 is followed by a data for that device. There is no acknowledgement packet. The next transmission sequence is for the device 8. Isochronous data are allowed only on full speed and high speed links. For high speed links, the SOF packet is repeated 8 times at equal interval within 1 millisecond frame to create 8 microframes of 125 microsecond each. So this is how isochronous data transfer takes place. Now coming to electrical characteristics of USB. Now, most of the computer today provide a USB port for connection to input-output devices. The cable used for USB connections consist of 4 wires. 2 wires are used to carry plus 5 volt and ground signal. Thus, a hub or an input-output device may be powered directly from the bus. The other 2 wires are used to carry data. Now, different signaling schemes are used for different speed of transmission. At low speed, 1 second and 0 second are transmitted by sending a high voltage state, that is 5 volts, on one or the other of the 2 signal wires. For high speed links, differential transmission is used. So this is about module 2. This is all about module 2. So here we complete module 2. So please go through the topics from the textbook, read carefully. So in the next video we will start up with the third module. So till then, take care and thank you.